Hello everybody! I promised it for so long, and finally it's time. Final Fantasy XIV. We're going to be doing the main story. I want to show you why I love this game. Skip ahead a few minutes if you want to hear my spiel. If you don't want to hear my spiel about how you can like WoW and also like Final Fantasy XIV at the same time, because I feel like that needs to be said with this series, based on feedback I've gotten by proclaiming my love for Final Fantasy XIV previously on my channel. You can love both games, guys. I think 14 and WoW do things great differently. They do different things better than each other. But I gotta say, story-wise, I think I like 14 more overall because it kind of plays like a Final Fantasy game, but just being an MMO. And usually, if not mediocre, I would say a lot of the Final Fantasy games actually are pretty good stories, even if they are Japanese anime nonsense. But so I'm gonna be playing a bard, but as I'll explain as we go along, you have to start out as a class and have it get your job later. The job is the bard. So I'm starting out as an archer. Here is my main that I usually play. He is a black mage. Starts out as a thaumaturgist. But I am in the current expansion content with this character, which is known as Stormblood. But we're going to start over from the beginning. I will say one more thing before we begin. The Final Fantasy XIV story, it takes a little bit to ramp up. It's not that the very early stuff is boring, it's that it's slower than I think it should be, and that's a criticism I have of it. But things that do happen very early on do matter. Characters that show up do matter and are important, and I'll try to point those out as I go along without spoiling things. But just be warned, the cap for vanilla Final Fantasy XIV is 50, and I would say it's fairly slow from 1 to 15-ish, and then the story picks up for about another good 10 levels to 25, 30, and then it becomes slowish again until like 30 to 45, and then at 45, it's just full steam ahead. Honestly fantastic. So here we go. We're going to begin with my archer, and we're going to be seeing the opening cutscene. Also, the art for this game, mwah, fantastic. That good old Final Fantasy theme that's going to get this video claimed. So just FYI, this is literally the first thing that you see when you start a character, so. We're pulling the Kingdom Hearts right out of the gate.
Here. Here. Feel.
Seems good to approach a galaxy that's speaking to you.
Here. Feel. Think.
See, I think this opening's pretty genius. Because they show you, like, your endgame gear set for your class right now. And you're like, oh, that looks so fucking cool. Like, and that was just the archer gear. That wasn't even the bard gear, which is the advanced job. I don't think, at least. I'm not 100% sure. I'm only familiar with black mages, so one more thing I should probably mention as we're loading. Forgive me if you're a bard in Final Fantasy XIV or an archer, because this is a crash course as we're going. I wanted to play a black mage, but excuse me, a dark knight, but I thought that they were DPS and they're actually tanks, and I don't really want to do a tank as my playthrough. Anyway, here we go. Oi! You alright, lad? You were moaning in your sleep and sweating buckets besides. That'll be the Aether, I reckon. Some places are prone to sickness. Oh, jeez. Some are more prone to sickness than others. Can't be an MMO playthrough if I mispronounce every word and read stuff that's not there. No need to fret, though. You'll soon get used to it. Out of here, Moogles. Feeling better, Kupo? Aha! You can see us! I had a feeling you could, Kupo. We're Moogles, and we live in this wood. This is interesting. It's already different than my Black Mage. Because there are 3 different starting areas depending on what class you pick, and I didn't start in this one. I started in the desert, that we'll probably get to eventually. Normal folks can't see or hear us, which makes you special, Kupo. I wonder who these twins could possibly be. I'm sure they're definitely not major characters. And seeing how you're special, maybe you can tell us something. The wood's been restless of late, lots of strange things happening. Have you chanced to witness anything suspicious, Kupo? Drunk-ass Kupos. But of course you haven't. You've only just arrived. Well, there's nothing for it then. We'll just have to keep looking. Nice to meet you, Kupo. Interesting. So we meet the Moogles when we go to this area. For my Black Mage, I started out meeting a hostile enemy NPC that you encounter later on. But this character and the twins were the same, so it's curious. I like it, because all of this, like I said, all of this comes back, maybe not necessarily this guy, although it's possible. But all of this stuff is relevant to the story. Gridania is still a far way off, in case you were wondering. Seeing as you're awake, how about you keep me company till we get there? Them youngins don't care much for conversations, see? Bremond, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Bremond's the name, and Pedlin's Betrayed. As for your good self, judging by your unusual garments, I say you're one of them new adventurers. Am I warm? I knew it. Going wherever the wind blows, seeking fortune and glory. Now that's what I call living. So long as you can avoid dying, I mean. Ain't no secret that adventuring's a risky business, these days especially. What was that first attracted you to it? I want to amass a fortune. Fortune, eh? Well, it's a dream we've all had one time or another. Once you've learned how to handle yourself in a fight, you'll want to pay a visit to whichever crafting or gathering guild tickles your fancy. Gridania is renowned for its leatherworking and carpenters, not to mention its botanists. Adventuring just ain't about killing things after all. A peaceful pastime may well help you make your fortune. These questions don't really matter. It's just kind of making a flavor for your character. Just remember, though, there's more important things than fortune and glory, such as breathing. Ain't no profit in being dead, and that's a fact. Halt! Go no further. What's this, then? Woo! Wah! What's going on? A skirmish has broken out ahead with the XIV. For your own safety, you must remain here until... Interesting. Bloody hells. We shall hold them here. Try to break clear. I can raid, I promise. First introduction to a hostile race, the XIV. I believe that's how you pronounce that. That was too bleeding close. Nice of the XIV to send us a welcoming party, though, eh? Joking aside, this won't be the last time you meet those feathered fiends, so you just take care, all right? By the by, is this your first trip to Gridania? No, but I haven't played it in quite a while, so I'm gonna say yes. Also, I think you get more information if you say yes. It is? Well then, let this journey itinerant tell you of the ins and outs of your destination. The city of Gridania lies slap bang in the middle of the Black Shroud, the biggest luscious forest in all of Eorzea. Though it ain't near as lush as it used to be, saying that. Not since the calamity laid waste to half of it. The destruction prompted a herd of new nasties to move in, and gave the Ixal unneeded encouragement. Birdman raids have become a daily occurrence. Ah, at long last. Behold Gridania, the forest nation blessed by the elementals. This is cool. I never did the intro quest for
the Black
Gridania.
Shroud, the ancient forest, close to the heart of Eorzea. Beneath the boughs of its towering trees lies the woodland city-state of Gridania. Once a sanctuary from the world beyond the hedge, even the mighty elementals, eternal guardians of the forest, could not forestall the coming of the seventh umbral era. However, the goddess Nofika was never one to forsake her children, and today she welcomes another brave soul.
Ooh, those shadows are not looking too great. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that one
who may yet play a telling role in the tale of this great realm.
And here's where we part ways, son. I'm off to the markets to deliver my wares, and it's back to the high road for me. Here, I want you to have this, by way of thanks for keeping me company. Ooh, I wonder what those two kids are doing. This is interesting. So you get a different perspective if you play the zone that I did. Hey, you never did tell me your name, did you? Well, here's an idea. Become the sort of storied personage I can brag about having met, and I'll consider a square. See ya.
May the matron take him to her bosom, that he may never want. And in his heart, sow serenity, purity, and sanctity.
Oh, I'm a cat boy, by the way. I don't think I ever. I never think I addressed that. That's the race that I picked. I believe they're called Mitoke, is what their name. Something like that. I skipped the character creation. I probably also should have said that earlier. It's not super interesting, to be honest. And hey, if you are interested, you can play and look at all that good stuff yourself. This is not sponsored, by the way, although it would be cool if it was. Just saying, Square Enix. The WoW expansion's coming out, and I'm advocating for Final Fantasy XIV at the moment, so throw me some bucks. It's only because I like the game, I promise. I'm not being spiteful toward B4A. You there, yes you! Your face is not known to me. Newly come to the city, no doubt. I am Bertinant, a wood whaler of Gridania. It's my duty to protect our nation from enemies while welcoming those who may yet prove to be friends. Let us see which you are. I'm a friend, I'm an archer. I promise. So, Do I finally get to play now? Welcome to Gridania, a vibrant forest nation cradled in the bosom of nature. Please select the control scheme you wish to use. Mouse and keyboard. Yes, I know how to do this. Yes, thank you. No, thank you. Alright. So. Oh, I can't run around yet. I'm still in the tutorial. Yes, I know. Yes, I know, thank you. I don't know why it's doing tutorial still. To be recognized as an adventurer in the city-state of Gridania, you must first register yourself with the Adventurers Guild. Another green adventurer, I presume. I thought as much. We cannot allow strangers to wander Gridania unchecked and untested. Before you rush off and begin pestering every citizen for work, I suggest you make yourself known to the Carline Canopy. That's the headquarters of the local Adventurers Guild, in case you're wondering. The Carline Canopy is the building you see behind me. Speak to Mother Mayune within, and she will take you in hand. Once again, everybody, this is a Final Fantasy game, so this starts a little slow. Use the duty list. Yes, I know. Alright, I'm going to actually turn the sound down just a little bit. The music, at least. Some of this, some of this. Cool. Alright, the cool thing about this game as well is that a lot of Final Fantasy composers worked on the music, so it's interesting. Alright, so here is the basic screen for all your abilities. One thing that's interesting, as you probably already have figured out, there was a lot of lore information. This must be new. EXP earned while below level 60 is dramatically increased. That's pretty cool. There's a lot of lore drops for things that have happened already in the past of the story. Before we continue, a little bit of backstory on the game as a whole. Final Fantasy XIV came out before, and the game was kind of a giant mess. And so, ultimately Square Enix chose to close the game down and remake it into Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, which is what this is. But the storylines and things that happened in the original game of 14 still affect the world. So you already referenced the Calamity, and I'm not going to spoil too much of it yet until we get there, but a big world-changing event ended Final Fantasy XIV when they closed it down to remake it, and that still affects the new game as well, which I think is pretty cool. So let's just continue on. It's interesting doing this intro because in the other intro, the two twins, the kids, those teenagers that we saw on our ship with us, they actually spoke to me, whereas this time they kind of didn't really say anything. Yep. Here we go. Well, well, what have we here? A wide-eyed and wondering young adventurer, come to put your name down at the guild, I assume. Welcome, Mione's my name, or Mother Mione as most call me, and the Carline Canopy is my place. As head of the Adventurers Guild in Gridania, I have the honor of providing guidance to the fledgling heroes who pass through our gates. No matter your ambitions, the guild is here to help you attain them. In return, we expect you to fulfill your duties as an adventurer by assisting the people of Gridania. A fine deal, wouldn't you agree? To an outsider's eyes, all may seem well within our nation, but naught could be further from the truth. The people live in a state of constant apprehension. The XIV and various gangs of common bandits have proven an unending supply of trouble, trouble compounded by the ever-present threat of the Garlean Empire to the north, and that is to say nothing of the Calamity. There it is again, the Calamity. Even now, the wounds have barely begun to heal. Ah, but I speak of it as if you were there. Forgive me. 5 years past, Eorzea was well nigh laid to waste, when a dreadworm emerged from within the lesser moon Dalamud, and rained fire upon the realm. It is this which people call the Calamity. Scarcely a square mom of the Twelves Wood was spared the destruction. Mom is kind of like the measurement of distance they use in this game. Just think of it as like yards for a while. Yet despite the forest's extensive wounds, not a soul among us can recall precisely how it all happened. I'm well aware of how improbable that must sound to an outsider. It is improbable, but it's also true. For some reason, we can ill explain the facts surrounding the calamity are shrouded in mystery. There are as many versions of the events as there are people willing to recount them. Yet, amidst the hazy recollections and conflicting accounts, all agree on one thing, that Eorzea was saved from certain doom by a band of valiant adventurers. And this is why it's so cool that they did this, because they directly reference the players who played in the original game and played the finale event before they closed the servers down. So much so that much later on, I'll talk about it again, but Square Enix, man, they got their shit together with this game. Whatever else we've misremembered, none of us have forgotten the heroes who risked life and limb for the sake of the realm, and yet whenever we try to say their names, the words die upon our lips. And whenever we try to call their faces to mind, we see naught but silhouettes amidst a blinding glare. Thus, these adventurers have come to be known as the Warriors of Light, the first major Final Fantasy staple reference. There you go. Although, if you're paying attention to the Dreadworm that was just referenced, you probably could guess who that probably is. Just saying. Ahem, do not feel daunted by the deeds of legend. We do not ask that you become another warrior of light, only that you do what you can to assist the people of Gridania. Great or small, every contribution counts. I trust you will play your part. All that's left then is to conclude the business of registration. Here's a quill. Scrawl your name right there. Oh, and I would appreciate it if you used your real name. There's a special place in the 7th Hell for those who use amusing aliases. Alright. Was that like a dig at people who name their characters stupid things, Square? Rorend Fadeleaf, And you're quite sure that isn't an amusing alias? No, it's a character from D&D that I made a while ago who kinda was like this. He was an archer. Very well, from this moment forward, you are a registered adventurer of Gridania, a nation blessed of the elementals and the bounty of the Twelves Wood. The guild expects great things from you. Look at what just arrived, another God's damned adventurer. Oh, that wasn't her that said that. Don't you start with that. Adventurers are very salve that Gridania needs. The Elder Seed Steer herself bade us welcome with open arms. Do you mean to disregard her will? I don't know how to voice this guy.
Of course not, lest you forget it's my sworn duty to uphold the peace. Am I to blame if outsiders bring mistrust among themselves?
Fucking elves are always a bunch of assholes in every game.
You, adventurer, mind that you do not cause any trouble here, or I shall personally cast you out of this realm and into the 7th Hell.
It's a special thing to amuse yourself with your own stupidity. Ahem, pay that outburst no mind. He meant only to counsel you. Suspicious characters have been prowling around the Twelves Wood of late, you see, and the Wood Whalers feel they cannot afford to take any chances. As is often the way with folk who live in isolation, Gridanians are wont to mistrust that which they do not know, your good self included. Fear not, however, given a catalog of exemplary deeds, and no more than a handful of years, the locals will surely warm to you. On behalf of my fellow citizens, I welcome you to Gridania! May you come to consider our nation as yours in time. Thanks, Mother. Now then, you may depend on old Mother Mion to teach you a few things that every adventurer should know. I wonder if I said no if I would have skipped all this. I'm not entirely sure. Yay! Here we go. This concludes the introductory game tutorial. You have taken the first steps as an adventurer. Listen well to the wisdom of Mother Mion. And here we go. Main scenario quests. I guess I should explain this for a little bit. The main scenario quest is the storyline of the game. It is always tracked up in the upper left here. Even if the next part of the quest is too high level for you, it'll still tell you at so-and-so level, go here, and you can click on it, and it'll show you where the NPC is. Go here and continue on, and this will be the main story quest. There are side quests everywhere. I probably won't be covering most of them in this playthrough, because there are a lot, and a lot of them, to be honest, don't really relate to the story. They may be characters who are in the main story, but things you're doing aren't really related, so I'm going to kind of skip them. And if we ever run into a scenario like I did on my mage, where the next part of the quest is too high level, I'll just level off camera, and we'll continue on. So, the next quest we have here. Mion, proprietress of the Carlin Canopy, wants you to perform 3 tasks that will help you learn the fundamentals of adventuring. Let us begin at the beginning, shall we? Now that you are a formal member of the Adventurers Guild, we must sure to have a firm grasp of the fundamentals of adventuring. To that end, I have 3 tasks I wish you to perform. The first task is to visit the Aetheryte. The massive crystal stands in the middle of Aetheryte Plaza, not far from Carline Canopy. As the device that enables instantaneous transportation, the Aetheryte plays a key role in the life of the ever-wandering adventurer. Once you have located the crystal, all you need to do is touch its surface. A member of the Wood Whalers will be present to offer further instruction. For your second task, you are to visit the Archers Guild. There's no better place to learn the arts of the bow. Speak with Ethelena, and she will explain the benefits of joining the guild. Your third and final task, I would have you visit the markers at the heart of Old Gridania's commercial district. There you shall find weapons and armor and all various items that an adventurer on his needs to travel might need. There is, however, more to the markets than buying and selling books. Speak with Parsemontre and listen well to his counsel. I think that's how you pronounce that. It's supposed to be French, right? The master merchant can be uncooperative at times, so be sure to offer him one of my famous eel pies. Like so many men, he is much more charitable when his stomach is full. Here, I made a batch not too long ago. You have your tasks, Warrant. May Nafika guide your path. One more thing. Should you happen to come across any citizen in need, don't be afraid to proffer a helping hand. I'm sure they will be pleased to meet an adventurer in whom they can confide their woes. Granted, the work they'll offer is likely to be of the... Let's start over. Granted, the work they offer is unlikely to be of the realm-shattering importance, but prove your worth and build a reputation, and in time folk will be more inclined to entrust you with matters of moment. As you can tell, the writing is also a bit funky. Not bad, but strange. I also suggest that you lend an ear to the smith here in the canopy. The smiths are trusted representatives of the Adventurers Guild and are an invaluable source of advice for neophyte heroes seeking to attain greatness. There's lots of text, lots of reading, lots of story, so that could be either a positive or a negative depending on how you feel about MMOs. I personally don't have any problem with it whatsoever. And in fact, as you've heard me already say, I quite like the story of the game. I think it's actually pretty dang good. So, we are loading back in out of the cutscene. That is one thing that I will say that I think WoW does better, is loading. Because as you can see, the loading is pretty stringent. Not stringent. Pretty overbearing at times. It still keeps trying to make me want to do tutorials. Yes, I know all this. Okay, so we have our main quest. We are going to attune ourselves to the Aetheryte. I haven't played in a while, so I can't remember. Okay, Aetheryte is here. Aetheryte is basically flight points, but instead of flying, it's teleportation. So, teleportation points, I guess. So here's the Aetheryte. You basically have to touch everyone you come across, and then once you've touched it, you can teleport to wherever you'd like. I'm sure they're about to tell us that right now. Allow me to offer a bit of instruction. I am Nissia of the Wood Whalers. I know a thing or two about Aetheryte. Yes, that big crystal. Aetheryte are devices that tap into the ethereal energies and are primarily used as a means to travel swiftly from one place to another. Return and teleport, the most common transportation spells, make direct use of Aetheryte and their connection to the flow of Aether. Aether is basically magic. As these devices are found in almost every corner of Eorzea, any adventurer worthy of his name will wish to seek out and attune himself to each one. Truly, few things in this world are so useful to an intrepid explorer. But you don't have to locate them all at once. Before rushing out into the wilds, I suggest you start with the Aetherites found here in Gridania. Should you wish to learn more, I will be here to answer your questions. So there are Aetherite crystals in the city, so you can teleport around the city faster as well. I now have the return spell, which is basically a hurt stone for those who play WoW. I keep referencing WoW stuff because I assume most of you who are going to watch this are on my channel, where I play WoW a lot. So, yeah, so we have return. Instantly returns to your home point. I don't need that on my bar. And my home point is basically a Hearthstone location. So, we're going to Old Gridania. This is one of the 3 capitals. We have Gridania, we have Limsa, Laminsa, I believe is what the water one's called, the port city. And then we have Ul'dah, which is the city in the desert, which is the one that I am most familiar with due to playing on my mage, because that's where I started out at. You do have Sprint, which is one of our abilities. It kind of just helps you generally move faster all the time. We eventually will get mounts, including flying mounts, but that won't be for later on. So until then, Sprint is pretty interesting. So I believe this is the Archer Guild. By what right is a fledgling adventurer presumed to address Parsemantre, master? Oh no, this is the guild. What's the word I'm looking for? The entrepreneur guy. You think you can stroll in here, bold as you please, and demand my hard-earned knowledge? Ha! A merchant does not for naught, especially when dealing with would-be heroes. If, on the other hand, you had some tasty morsel to curry in my favor, then I might consider your request. Come now, this whole encounter reeks of Mion's handiwork, and more specifically her baking. Don't look so surprised, son. I smelled that eel pie of yours a mom away. Hand it over! Yep, so this is a big mechanic of the game. You hand over stuff. Right-click or drag it if you want, and you will hand over the item. That flaky crust. Just divine. Very well, I'm a man of my word. Pay close attention, for I only shall explain this once. The aspiring adventurer needs to look no further than Rosewood and Ebony Stalls. Both are a short stroll from where we stand. This is explaining basically where the vendors are, including the auction house of the game. So we can skip through this real fast. It's basically a bunch of vendors for weapons and items and armor, including the public auction house. So that's all we had to do here. Is there an aetheryte crystal here? I don't think we attuned ourselves to this one, did we? The Leatherworkings Guild one. So let's do that real quick. Yeah, so here's an aetheryte shard. Attune! Yep, so that's basically telling you once you have multiple aetheryte crystals in a city, you can teleport around that city very quickly. I love the graphics in this game. I would consider this a very beautiful game. Especially Gridania, because it rains a lot, and I love, 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 love the aesthetic of the rain. So we are, actually, I can't remember where the Archers Guild actually is. It's in New Gridania, so we're going to actually teleport back to... Oh, wait, I can't do that yet. So we are going to go, yeah, to New Gridania. We're going back to this part of the other part of the city. I should remember this because for my Black Mage, I had to level up an Archer to 15. Because for jobs, so the base character is a class, and then think of jobs as kind of, not really this, but kind of a facsimile of a specialization for Warcraft. Whereas, I mean that in the sense of, if you're an archer, you can progress to different paths once you get to the appropriate level. Bard, for example, is one of them, and that's the one I'm going to be playing. But another interesting thing about this game... Oh yeah, we're going right over here. Is that you can play every class on one character. So, I wonder if I can show you. Yeah. So if for some example I was like, screw it, I don't want to play an archer. I want to play a pugilist, which I think I have to do to make a bard. So I want to play a pugilist. Then you just go to the pugilist trainer in the appropriate capital city, and you just switch to that class, and that's what you are. And you can switch between them really easily. I don't think I have the item yet, but it's basically soul crystals, and once you equip a certain crystal, then you will become that class. So It's actually really cool. I like it a lot. So you don't really have to make multiple characters. The only reason I'm doing it for you guys is because you can't repeat the main story quests on the same character. If you've done it, it's done. You can do a bunch of side quests, and there's a leveling system that's basically like an endless dungeon where you can level up, but you can't do the MSQ, the main scenario quest, more than once. So I had to make a second character to show you guys the storyline. Alright, so we're going to visit the Archers Guild. I want to show some combat before we end this episode, because we did have a lot of tutorial stuff. Greetings, friend. You found our way to the Archers Guild. You seek to uncover the secret of our arts. Now that I think on it, you have the look of someone who has received Mother Mion's gentle instruction. Very well. I shall give you a brief introduction to archery and the Archers Guild. The skills practiced by our archers allow them to gauge an enemy's weakness from afar, turn the tide of battle with a single well-placed arrow. Should you join us, you will be taught to do the same. Archery, as practiced in Gridania, was born of two distinct styles of bowmanship. The first was developed by the longbow sentries of the Elizan. The Elizan are the elves, basically, who once ruled the lowlands, and the second belonged to the shortbow hunters of the formerly nomadic Miqo'te. I believe is how you pronounce that. That is what I am, the cat boys and girls. I'm a Miqo'te. As you will doubtless be aware, both races ultimately came to call the 12's Wood their home. Though the two people began as rivals, they gradually learned to live together in harmony. During this time, they learned from one another, and two schools of archery intermingling to give birth to the art known as it is known today. For a time, the bow was primarily used for hunting, but as hunters vied with one another to prove who was the better shot, they emerged a group of archers whose ultimate goal was not to... Whose ultimate goal lay not in the practical pursuit of prey, but in perfection. Thus was the Archers Guild born of the ranks of the Trappers League. I believe this is referencing stuff from the original game. I think the Trappers League was the Archers Guild from the first Final Fantasy XIV. So like they have connections like that all the time. It's the way of the guild to promote greatness in archery through friendly competition, and the results of our methods can be seen in the vaunted archers of God's Quiver, many of whom spent their formative years loosing arrows at the guild's practice butts. I hope this gives you a better idea of who we are, what we do here. Aho! Did I see the spark of ambition with flare within your eyes? If you wish to draw a string with the finest archers in Eorzea, look no further than the Archers Guild. Before you can enlist, however, you must gain the approval of the guild master. Once you're ready to proceed, speak with me again and we can see about your enrollments. Yep. So you're resolved to join the Archers Guild. Yes. The look in your eye bespeaks your determination. It would be my pleasure to introduce you, or to refer you to Guildmaster Lucian. Don't worry. Oh, jeez. Lest you worry unduly, Lucian is an affable and kind-hearted woman. Even those not of the guild have been known to seek her counsel on various matters, and they ever have been given a fair hearing. Lucian waits for you in the training area yonder. Present yourself before her, and impress upon her your desire to join the guild. Yay! So now we need to go meet the Guildmaster, who I believe is right back here. Yep, here she is. Greetings, adventurer. I'm told you wish to join our ranks. I am Lucian, the master of the Archers Guild, and I bid you welcome. Our doors are open to all who will learn. Allow me to explain the basics of our art and offer you a foretaste of that which we teach the members of our guild. If you're curious about voice acting in this game, it gets much more heavy later on. There's not as much reading. Kind of like WoW in a lot of ways, so if you're curious. The bow's greatest advantage is its range. Unlike those arms used in other disciplines of war, it allows one to strike at the enemy from afar. Though the bow may not boast the destructive force of a sword or a spear, its myriad strategic applications more than compensate for the shortcoming. An experienced archer can immobilize an enemy by striking a leg, or sap its strength with a poison arrow. Rise to become a virtuoso of archery, and a veritable deluge of death will rain upon... Oh my gosh, let's start that sentence over one more. Rise to become a virtuoso of archery, and a veritable deluge of death will be yours to rain down upon your foes. By fighting from a distance, we can better assess the battlefield, thereby determine the most advantageous course of action. This is of paramount import, as our role in battle is to exploit the enemy's weakness with the requisite placement and timing, but a single arrow may serve to turn the tide. To this end, the guild seeks to instill a discerning eye within its members, that they might learn to strike at vulnerabilities, swiftly and surely. Now, any half-wit can bend a bow, but it's no simple undertaking to become a skilled archer. You must be prepared for a long and arduous journey. Are you resolved to complete that journey? Will I dedicate myself to archery? I don't know. Yes. Very well. Now, before proceeding any further, I must gauge your innate aptitude for archery. To this end, I hereby assign you the following trial. Slay the squirrels, ladybugs, and funguars that roam just beyond the city's gates. 3 of each should suffice. In doing so, you will prove your fitness to join the Archers Guild. Report back to me when your task is complete. I doubt that it will trouble you unduly. Let's do some motherfucking combat. Alright. But I think before we do that, we're gonna check back in with Mother Mion and turn our quest in. So, we're gonna go to the Aetheryte Plaza, which is closer to where we started out at, I believe. Otherwise, I just teleported for no reason, and we're gonna have to run all the way back. I probably should have just ran because the loading screen is... It's also, just everyone should be aware, it's also because I'm recording audio and gameplay and playing the game at the same time, so I'm sure if you have a beast of a computer that won't be a problem for you. But all of us don't have that luxury. Alright. Let's turn our quest back in. The Conquering Hero returns. You've completed my tasks, I trust. The 3 locations you visited will feature prominently in your life as an adventurer. It's best you grow familiar with them as soon as possible. And you took the time to listen to the woes of the citizenry. I cannot emphasize how important it is to lend your talents to one and all, no matter how trivial the matter may seem. I am thankful you are an obliging sort, Warrend. It's adventurers like you who will win the hearts of the locals and pave the way for those who follow. I pray Gridania can rely on your aid in the struggles to come. Yay! The money in this game, of course, it's a Final Fantasy game, so of course it's Gil. Of course it's Gil. It's definitely what it would be. So right now, I leveled up. Yeah, I can't do this yet, because I'm supposed to be doing the, I am supposed to be doing my Archer quest, so I'm gonna go do that. We are gonna go out to the Central Shroud. We'll do a little bit of combat and then end this first episode. Once again, like I said at the very beginning, these first few episodes are gonna be a little slower. There's lots of tutorials, although I think we've gotten past most of them already at this point. So they should be going at a brisk pace. I really want to get past level 15 as soon as possible, because like I said, that's where the story really picks up. We can do some combat out here. Yes, I know how to fight. And there are achievements in the game. So what are my abilities I have? Heavy Shot, which is just my basic attack, and Straight Shot delivers an attack with a potency of 140. That means how much damage it does. So for example, delivers an attack with a potency of 150 is 150 damage. This is 140 damage. But Straight Shot gives us a buff, which is the additional effect, as you can see, which increases our critical hit rate by 10%. So I wanna open up, I assume, with this, and then proceed to use my first attack. So there we go. I'm still a little bit far away. That moaning is apparently the voice that I have when I attack. I was looking for the buff for this. Let me see. It says oh, my buff's up here. Yeah, as you can see. It's interesting. This is not the setup that I had for my mage. I had a different. You can move around the UI, of course. There are actually no add-ons in this game unless they've suddenly changed that. So, you can move around, but you can move around like everything. I wonder if I can show you guys real quick. Yeah, the HUD layout. You can change literally everything. Like here's the scenario guide. I'm gonna move that a little bit further over here, so we can have a little bit more screen. You can shrink up and down the map. I'll probably change this eventually at some point, but I'm gonna save it for now and do that on my own time. Alright, we need to kill some more ladybugs. So let's let's do that. I do have a basic attack by just right-clicking, because I am an archer. So these are instant. I thought these were... Oh, okay, I still have to remember a little bit how to play myself. So if you're looking down at the bottom left, the cast is if there's a cast time for your ability. The recast is basically your cooldown. And then your TP cost is your resource. For archers, they use TP. I don't think they use MP for almost anything. Whereas the black mage uses MP for everything and basically doesn't use TP whatsoever. So, I need to slay one more squirrel. Get my buff rolling on myself up here. And you will automatically loot everything that you have. Excuse me. You will automatically loot basic things by running right by them if they drop for you, but you do have to loot some things eventually. So I'm trying to explain everything that I can about the game in case people are curious. Now we have to kill 3 forest fungars. There's one right here. We actually leveled off from that just from killing enemies, which is cool. I wonder if they have it in the game. I'm not sure how do I... Where's the hunting guide? What's it called? Logs. Hunting log. I can't do that yet. Okay, never mind. We'll cover that when we get there. But there's a cool little bonus thing if you want to grind out experience. In the game! Alright. One down. One more. Kill this one up here. And then we will have completed our archer quest. There we go. And the quicker that you kill things, the more experience you built. As you probably saw for a second there, it said chain number 3. If you just keep chaining together kills, you eventually keep getting more and more. You get slightly more experience for each kill up to a certain point, which is pretty cool. You can see the chain bonus is right down here. Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I realized that was not actually correct. So, once again, I'm not a master of Final Fantasy XIV. I just really enjoy it. I would say I am a master of World of Warcraft. If you don't think so, but I played it for 15 damn years, so I know my shit for that game. But for this one, I'm still learning. Like, for example, my Black Mage, excuse me, hasn't even hit max level yet in the current expansion. I'm kind of waiting for the next expansion to be announced. That is when Square Enix will always kind of speed up all of the endgame stuff for that expansion. You can already see how Aetheryte is very useful. I'm teleporting right to the Archers Guild, which is right here. And hopefully this will give us enough experience to level up and continue the next quest. If not, we'll have to kill some things. So those of you who are vanilla players, right up your alley. Welcome back, Rorand. It would seem you've successfully completed the trial. You have proven yourself worthy of a place within these halls. It's a pleasure that I name you an Archer of the Guild. As fellows of the path, let us together strive for greater mastery of our arts. Now, though you may be a member of the Archers Guild, know that your seniors will not coddle you with personal attention. It's up to you to seek out the experiences you need to grow as an archer. To this end, I present you with the hunting log, like I just was talking about. Written within are the names of such creatures that would provide a fitting challenge. Should you find yourself lacking in direction, you would do well to refer to the log. By way of a first step, I encourage you to practice proper technique. Loose arrow after arrow. Pay close attention to form until the movement becomes second nature. When drawing your bowstring has become as natural to you as drawing breath, and the world seems clearer when viewed down the shaft of an arrow, return to me. Go well, my young apprentice. The next Archer quest will be available at level 5. Yay! Using items. Yep, I know how to do that. We got the hunting log. I will explain that very quickly. We actually didn't level up, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of hunting log. Or I could do a bunch of side quests if I want. So, the hunting log. So, basically, this is how you used to have to level up characters. So, for example, if you were a black mage and you were at max level and you decided you wanted to play a different class, the hunting log is a great way to level up your new class because you start at level 1 for that new class. you essentially have to go around killing these specific mobs. And after you kill a certain number, as represented here, you will get a big chunk of experience. And after you have completed a certain amount, you will get harder and harder and harder and harder mobs to clear for your class. And they don't share between classes because they're meant for you to level up with. So for example, if I wanted to go kill a bunch, I can kill 4 ladybugs and get 75 experience. Now, if I complete the whole hunting log, I get the nice big chunk up here of 2,500, which would be probably 2 levels worth of experience. So there we go. So for right now, my next quest, I have to get to level 4 to complete the MSQ, or I can get to level 5 for the next Archer quest. So I think this is a good place to end this episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you are enjoying Final Fantasy so far. Let us dance a little bit. Woohoo! You learn different dances. Basically, everyone starts out with this one, but you learn different dances. So we will continue on next time. And like I said, once again, please don't judge the game's first 10 or 15 levels, or don't judge the entire game based on that, because it is kind of slow at first. So thanks for watching, everyone. The story will pick up soon, I promise. I know for a fact. But until then, stay awesome. Can I wave here? Bye.